because our politicians sent them into an unjustifiable and unwinnable war.
Today in Trafalgar Square have a huge demonstration representing millions and millions of people in Britain, men and women, young and old, of all religions, of all countries, who are opposed to the Afghan war. And this is not a protest, it is a demand to the government to end the Afghan war. And I think it will succeed because the Afghan war is unwinnable, many people are dying, we're all paying for it, we all have responsibility for it, and we have the right to say no. And that's what I believe this big demonstration will help to bring about.
It's a human rights thing. It's not just because we're Muslim or anything. It's because it's human rights at the end of the day, and it's humanity that's suffering, essentially. So I think ultimately that's why we're all here today, to bond together and stand here for a reason.
For the innocent people in Afghanistan, because it's not their fault what's happening over there. It's not the children's fault, it's not the baby's fault, it's not the women's fault, it's not even the men's fault, so why should they suffer?
Take me to the Hague! It's your choice what you do with this message. Don't get confused. I view this from a human perspective. How many more resolutions have to be violated? How many more children have to be annihilated? Israel is a terror state. Terrorists that terrorize and testify. My television televise and telling lies. This is not a war. It's like systematic genocide. But wherever they try, Palestine will never die. Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Long live Palestine! Thank you very much. Peace and love.
Osama bin Laden was created by Britain and by America, and for one man, a whole country has been turned upside down for what? And there's nothing to be achieved there anymore. These people aren't getting human rights. These people aren't having a better life. They've just been left to pick up the pieces, to literally be left in rubble.
7, 8, 5, 6, 7, 8. Stop that killing, stop the hate! Stop that killing, stop the hate! Stop that killing, stop the hate! 1, 2, 3, 4.
War in Afghanistan and the war in Iraq are criminal enterprises and should never start in the first place, so the quicker they're ended, the better.
Like, innocent people have died every single day, and it's been totally forgotten by the media. It's not even mentioned, that's the thing. And these are people's lives, and I think that's just a big deal, that's why we're here.
It was to eliminate Al-Qaeda, to make our streets in Britain safer. We were told it was to create a functioning Afghan state. We were told it was to bring stability to Afghanistan. We were told it was to eliminate the Taliban and improve conditions for women. I'd like to just give you a few facts about Afghanistan now, today, after 10 years of intervention and after trillions of dollars. On stability, the level of violence is rising, not falling. The number of soldiers killed was an all-time high last year. 711 soldiers killed, more than any other year since the invasion. The number of civilians being killed is also rising, up 15% this year. 2,700 innocent civilians killed last year. And what's more, Afghanistan's nuclear-armed neighbour, Pakistan, has been badly destabilised by the war on terror. It now boasts its own Taliban. Before 2002, there was no Pakistani Taliban. Suicide attacks were virtually unheard of. Since 2002, 35,000 Pakistanis have died as a result of terror-related incidents. Last year alone, there were 300 suicide attacks in Pakistan. There comes a moment where you have to ask, what is more dangerous, terrorism or counter-terrorism?
it's not a minority that has come out here today, and it's not a minority of us that believe that this war should stop and that should not go on. They need to take that into consideration, or do we not matter? Are we not important to them?
Yes, we've had 10 years of war, and I think we ought to demonstrate against that. Various wars in Afghanistan and Iraq and so on. And we're not, they haven't been successful. Loads of people have been killed, lots of money's been wasted. And I'm against all that waste of money and all the lives lost to no purpose, to no proper purpose.
It's quite disturbing seeing what's going on on the TV. You see it every day, and it's as if it's becoming normal now, and people are treating it as if it's just, oh, it's daily news, it doesn't matter. But it does matter, and we need to do something about this.
Well, I'm here because I want to see our troops out of Afghanistan. I want to see the war in Afghanistan finished. I want to see the money that's being spent on Afghanistan being spent on services that are being cut away by this Tory government. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm protesting.
In Afghanistan, I filmed a woman called Arafat kneeling beside the graves of her husband and 7 other members of her family, including 6 children. An American F-16 pilot had dropped a 500-pound bomb on her small home, which was made of mud and straw. I walked into the crater and saw pieces of human bone. We've had 10 years of such crimes that didn't happen, that didn't matter. 10 years. The revision is now well underway, and I'm not referring to the Sun or the Daily Mail. Yesterday, The Guardian said that the invasion of Afghanistan was understandable, and to wage a short war was unavoidable. Understandable, unavoidable, no mention that Al-Qaeda had left Afghanistan when the invasion began. No mention that the Clinton administration had been secretly dealing with the Taliban regime for an oil pipeline, even inviting the Taliban on a secret trip to Washington. No mention that the Taliban were lavishly entertained in the Texas mansion of the CEO of the oil company Unocal. No mention that the attack on Afghanistan almost certainly had been planned before 9/11, as Pakistan's Foreign Minister Nayab Nayak later revealed. He was told in July of that year that Washington had decided to get rid of the Taliban regime because they were unreliable. You and millions like you all over the world represent decency, sanity, outrage. The Camerons, the Blairs, the Straws, the Obamas, the Bushes represent extremism. They are the enemy. For what can be... For what, let me ask, for what can be more extreme than the slaughter and suffering of so many innocent people? Never lose faith in your own power, for they are not invincible. They fear this power. They and their apologists fear you calling them to account. Above all, they fear you disobeying their atrocious rules and believing their atrocious propaganda. Because from Egypt to Chile, Wall Street to right here in Trafalgar Square, there's only one way now, and you know what that is. It's called civil disobedience. Thank you.